Welcome to Coaching in Session.
where limits end and growth begins.
Hosted by Michael Rearden.
This is your space to challenge the ordinary
Unlock your potential.
and step boldly into your next chapter.
Your mindset journey continues.
One of the things I have found out about maintenance is that when we're trying to do something for the long term, we can do it easily from the start, especially in things like relationships. The butterflies are there. We can just kind of make it work. Even where we are in the New Year's resolution scheme, where we start the new year fresh and we have all of this vigor, it's almost like the mind knows something that is capable of doing something amazing. But along the way, we are challenged with so many struggles and challenges, and it becomes more difficult for the mind to fathom, can I keep this up long term? Can I keep this up for 12 months? I think of, this is a long time ago, there was a person who was like paragliding or skydiving or doing something. And there was some type of malfunction with the harness, and he was hanging on for his dear life. And he hanged on for about 3 minutes and 41 seconds, somewhere along those lines. And so what happened was it was a big idea of, can we hold on as well for that long up in the sky? So people, what they did was they got pull-up bars and they were hanging for a period of time. So they were maybe hanging for a minute, 2 minutes, but not many people made the 3-minute mark because, of course, we know that the blood flow is falling from your hands and your arms and they get weak. So there's a whole bunch of science behind it, and there's ways for you to rotate your arms. But trying to do what that man did exactly, a lot of people couldn't do it because it wasn't do or die. It wasn't life or death for the majority of the people on the ground. If they felt, oh, well, couldn't do it, that man is lucky. Versus, okay, this is do or die. And most people don't live their life as today is my last day, possibly. Tomorrow's not promised. I only have 24 hours to do what I have to do to become what I have to become. Most people, they think they have so long to do something. So it's easy to trick the mind to say, hey, why don't we do it later? Why don't we do it tomorrow? And this is where the fallacy of, if you want to do something in life that's amazing, you need to not have this mindset. Because if you have that mindset of you can do it later, you can do it tomorrow, there's always going to be another opportunity. There's no more opportunities. This is right now. What will you do now? And this is where the mindset is. So now we're trying to think of, how can we get this mindset of we need to do it today? We need to do it now. We have 24 hours left. We don't have 48. We don't have 365 days a year. We have today. We have right now, this moment. Well, we can develop that mindset. Okay. That mindset is not too difficult to create. The issue is, how long can we keep that mindset? And I like to call it momentum, where we're thinking of, all right, we have this idea of doing something for the long term, right? We started off the year, we had the motivation. Maybe we started to create the disciplines of doing something, a habit, for example. And now we have to see if we can keep it up long term. Of course, there's going to be ways where we can trick the mind to think of, okay, I want to do this long term. How can we do it? We're going to be getting into some of those in a minute. But before we do that, I want you to take a look at this blog, Momentum Maintenance, How to Keep Going When the Excitement Fades. And in this article, I'm talking about what momentum is and then how you can understand that motivation is great. We have Motivation Motion, 2 seasons or 2 episodes of this season already out. And it's important to understand that, yes, motivation can be helpful. It can be that maybe that jump starter when your battery's dead on your car. The motivation can be, boom, now I'm ready to ride again. But momentum is going to be built through the small, consistent actions, repetitions. It's not emotion, right? Momentum is no motion. It's just I'm moving. It's like the pendulum is going back and forth, and it creates this confidence within your life where it's just like, okay, this is going to happen. Now, we have to have structures in order to protect momentum, because if we just kind of think of momentum, it's just going to be there. It's just one of those things that are going to be a byproduct to after I'm motivated. Unfortunately, it's just not the truth. Momentum is going to be something where you have to do daily, if not weekly or monthly. Now, when you're working in the beginning on your momentum, I recommend daily. Think of it as 24-hour time, like a 24-hour time block. I need to do this within 24 hours. There's no alternative. There's no choice. Think of it as if you don't take your diabetes medicine, you're going to die or something, right? If you don't take your multivitamin, you're going to die or something, right? There's something crazy. Like it doesn't make any sense, but let's just say it does for a minute. So the moment you don't do something, death occurs. Now that death doesn't have to be the figurative term of death where you're no longer in existence, but a part of yourself, a part of your soul, part of your mind, where there's a slow decline. Whereas like one moment you were this exuberant person, this joyful person, this happy person, and then all of a sudden you're just like this person that's just kind of like a blob, just kind of there, just kind of existing. And we don't want to get into that mindset where our momentum is just built on the days pushing us forward or the weeks pushing us forward or our job schedules pushing us forward. This is how many people live. So we need to give ourselves goals. We need to have weekly check-ins. We need to do all of these things to help us be accountable. Now, the issue with most people is that, number one, they don't create goals. And if they do, they don't set the goals up properly. They don't have weekly check-ins because they would rather not look at what they're not doing than the things they are doing. And then the last part is people are not accountable. It is easy for someone to say, you know what? I tried. It didn't work. All right, I'm just going to keep on doing my old stuff because it is easy to slip back into old habits. It is easy not to take action. It is easy to be lazy. It is easy to not be consistent. It is easy to not be disciplined. It is easy to not allow momentum to bring you to somewhere good in your life. Well, we can look at things that are going to help us along the way. For example, maybe we want a better environment, right? Maybe we give ourselves our iron 5. Maybe we surround ourselves with people and spaces and we have conversations and read books and we consume knowledge like coaching in session or other podcasts where we are getting this invigoration to do something with our life. But you're not going to go anywhere if you don't want to go anywhere. Imagine if a car had all of the components to be a car. It has the wheels, it has the engine, it has the oils, the spark plugs, the windshields. You don't need a windshield to drive, but you have basically everything you need for the car. But here's the caveat. The car is not assembled. You literally have a car, but you don't have it assembled. And most people, they have all of the tools or the resources. It's just that they haven't assembled it into a package. One of the things I love to do for clients, whether it be new or old, depending on where they are, because in life, sometimes you can have that pendulum of maybe one day you're super motivated and then you're super disciplined along the way. You just allow momentum to carry you and it's just super easy. Versus some people, it's like pulling teeth. And of course, in the beginning, it is easy for people to feel motivated, to be hungry, especially when they put some skin in the game. Because of course, coaching can be expensive for some individuals. Even though here at Reven Concepts, our coaching is extremely affordable, we pride ourselves in making sure that people have some skin in the game. Because if you don't have that skin in the game to some level, to some degree, are you really going to push? Because I can't tell you how many times in my life where maybe I bought something, right? Maybe a Groupon, right? This is a good example, a Groupon. And maybe I spent $80 on the Groupon. It's currently less than what I charge an hour for coaching. So I'm like, okay, well, I got this Groupon and it cost me $80, $90. And I have to go to this farm or I have to go to this winery, but the winery is 1 hour away or the farm's 1 hour away. Maybe I just don't feel like driving 1 hour. And guess what? I have 1 week left to do it. Maybe I'm looking at my calendar and I'm not able to do it. I'm like, well, I can give it to somebody or I could just kind of let it go by, right? Because the $80 is always going to be there for the Groupon. It's just I'm not going to get the deal of maybe the 50% off. So instead of me paying $160, I'm going to pay $80 so I can get in at a reduced rate. Now, I might just say, well, I'll deal with it later. I can't tell you how many Groupons I allow to just go to the waysides, things that I've never done. You have to ask yourself, why does this happen? Maybe number one, you have a lot of money, so you don't necessarily need to worry about $80 because it's insignificant. If I lose $1,000, hey, I lost $1,000, right? But for some people, they lose $1,000. They're like, oh my God, how am I going to pay my rent? So there's going to be different qualities in people for money, for health, for time. And some people are going to place those qualities in different areas. So time could be super important for them, right? Maybe it is going to be about money. Maybe money is super important for them. And as long as they understand what is their leading factor to do something, then they can kind of leverage that in order to do things. For example, most people that I'm dealing with is either time or money. Typically is one of the two. So rich people typically, or wealthy people, time is their most important asset. They don't have enough of it. When you're dealing with someone who's maybe middle class or lower middle class, money is typically a factor. Sometimes it's time, of course, but for the majority of people that are coming in, it's money. Oh, I don't want to spend on this money because I know me and I know that I'm going to do what Michael was saying about the Groupon, where I'm going to get some coaching and I'm not going to follow through. Well, this is to say, are you one of these people who want it or one of these people who kind of want it? And I make it clear of people who kind of want things in life. It looks good on the other end when you're looking at someone who's living in a mansion, who's driving all of these nice cars, who's going on all these vacations, who's flying private. It looks nice from the outside. But what happens is that people don't understand that it takes a certain type of momentum to get there. So if you don't want that momentum to get there, and then even the momentum to stay there, the discipline to stay there, then you need to figure out what exactly you want long term. Which environment do you want to surround yourself in or be in for the long term? I think of it as where you live. I used to live in Connecticut, and now I live in Texas. Connecticut has snow, it's cold, it's a very small state, but we have a lot of trees and good hiking. Texas is very big, it's hot. We have desert, even though it's not like everywhere is desert. It's not like the wild, wild west where people are thinking, oh, Texas is super hot. I mean, it's hot, but you have AC everywhere. So it's just like you have maybe two extremes. I remember when I was moving down, people were like, oh, you can't go down to Texas. It's going to be too hot. And then I come down to Texas and I'm like, it's not that bad. It's fine, right? You just kind of get used to it. I was doing Bikram at the time. So Bikram was even hotter than where I was dealing with Texas. But then again, you have 110 degrees with no rain for 30 to 60 days. It's a different feeling, right? So you have to just acclimate to your environment. Now, you don't have to acclimate to an environment that you don't want to. And some people acclimate to environments that they shouldn't be acclimating to. So maybe they want to live in Texas, but they're living in Connecticut. Or maybe they're living in Connecticut and they want to live in Texas. And you have to do what aligns with you. All right. So it's important for that. Now, we think of the whole total package of what momentum is. And I think of when I'm trying to have or build momentum, typically we start off slow. When you're starting off slow, it might seem like, oh, like I just want to rush to where I want to get to, right? Because most people, they want the quick, right? They want the easy. They don't want the long haul. They don't want the struggle. They don't want the challenge. They just want the immediate gratification. That's why when they order things on Amazon, they want it as quick as possible. They don't want to wait 2 days. They don't want to have to maybe even order $25 or $35 to get same day shipping. They just want that item right now. And this is where our mind is, where we want that instant gratification. But then sometimes we have to ask ourselves, is this going to be something that's going to be instant? Because momentum is typically not an instant thing. It's not like instant coffee or an instant ramen noodles or something along those lines. It takes time. So now we know that momentum takes time to build, because when I think of a car starting, right, you probably ever heard of a car going 0 to 3 or like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds or 0 to 100 in 9 seconds or something, right? And all of that to me is just kind of like foreign. I'm not like a car guy or anything. But for some people, they're like, well, my car can go 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds. And I'm like, okay, sure. Right. That's cool. Right. But maybe that's what they want. Right. Momentum, sometimes it's not that quick. Maybe it's not we'll go to 60 or 100 in 2 seconds or 5 seconds. Maybe momentum is we're going to make 20 miles in maybe 15 seconds. Okay. And you might ask, well, it's not that bad, but it takes time to build momentum. Think of maybe running, where you want to go your fastest pace. The momentum to get there in the beginning, right? Of course, it could be bursty, but when you're pushing yourself at that peak and you're giving yourself a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more to try to get to that max, the momentum when you start it, that jolt, it could be significant. Some people, they think that that significant jump, that January 1st, for example, is going to be the momentum, what they need. That was just a boost. That was just a propellant. That was just a rocket going off, right? But then when that rocket is going off, what's pushing that rocket is not so much the boosters anymore, right? All of that already occurred. Now it's just the momentum, the force that was given to it, and now it just propels. So we have to use opportunities like a new month, a new year, a new mindset, or maybe just new moments when we give ourselves maybe a coach or something like that to say, all right, this is going to be my momentum. And it's important that we're like that guy that's hanging on that parasail and we're holding on for our dear life and we don't let go. We don't slip a little bit. It's just we are focused. We see the goal is the ground, and we don't want to let go of the bar to hit the ground the wrong way. We want to make it to the ground safely. All of this is to say that we can develop momentum, but it's not going to be one of those quick things in our life. Now, when I say momentum, how long does it take for momentum to build? And I'm going to say it's going to vary for different people, because I can't say that, all right, if you do everything that you're supposed to do in 1 month, you're going to build the momentum you need in order to keep on going in life. For example, when I was like 15, I started working out. And as much as I know that working out is great, as much as I know that working out makes me feel good, there are times in the year where maybe I take a week off or 2 weeks off, and I have to ask myself, like, why am I taking all this time off? And it's easy, again, to slow down. It is easy to not push yourself. It is easy to fall into laziness. It is easy to get busy. And we're going to be talking about this a little bit later, because this is an important topic where, well, not later, but later in the week. We are looking at momentum for something that we can always reach to, right? Oh, if I need a little bit of momentum, I'll just come over here. Think of it as like a jolt, a Monster, an energy drink, a Red Bull, or whatever. They have the new ones now, the natural ones, the balloons and the Alanis, right? So these are the energy drinks of the world. And it's so funny how I grew up in a time where we didn't have all those energy drinks. I remember I was talking to a client and I was like, if I could go back in time, I would just buy certain stocks. I wouldn't even do anything crazy. Of course, you can get some Bitcoin. Of course, you can get some Apple and some Amazon and some Walmart and some Zoom and some medical stuff. But one of the things I would also get is Monster. Monster has been a company that has seen a steady incline every single year. Energy drinks are huge. People have been, I don't want to say brainwashed, but they have been given the belief that they don't have enough energy within them. Makes sense, because they want to do all of these things. They see all these things on social media. We see all the people doing all of these amazing things. And we're like, well, why am I not doing it? I need to get some more energy. Well, the reality is you just need to give yourself better mindsets, better goals. When we look at this article one last time, Momentum Maintenance, how to keep growing when the excitement fades. As I said, most people, when they start off in the new year, they're extremely excited for what's to come. Most people are looking at their past and they're looking at all the hardships that they might have had to deal with. They're probably saying, I'm so happy 2025 is over or 2026 is over, depending on the year. And they are just so elated to go into the new year. But then the moment something bad happens, what do you think happens to the mind? Do you think the momentum is going to keep them going forward? Do you think they're just going to be motivated to keep pushing and try to make this year the best year yet? No, the reality is you have given your mindset a negativity of there was a bad year and I'm hoping this year is better. But just because you hope a year is better doesn't mean it's going to be better. Why not demand that your year is better? Because if I said again, if you have 24 hours left to live, you get to make a choice in your day. You get to say, I'm going to be deliberate in what I'm doing. You know what you're going to be doing versus, yeah, I'm just kind of cruising along. Yeah, all of a sudden I did all my work and now I'm on my phone and I'm watching some shorts and some reels and it makes me feel good. Oh, I really like the song. Let me listen to it 50 times. Oh, I really like the show. I'm going to watch it back to back. So it's just like, yes, I understand. Let's enjoy life to an extent. But when we are trying to do something great with ourselves, momentum is going to be one of those factors that not only help us get there, but help us realize that we can do it again and again and again for any goal that we have. Because it's not so much of we give ourselves a goal and then all of a sudden we're at the destination. It takes time for us to get there. Now, some people, they take a little bit longer to get to their dreams and their destinations and their goals in life. And I'm not here to say that there's a right or wrong way to do something. I don't believe that everyone should force themselves to reach their best life as soon as possible. I don't believe that. Some people, maybe they just like the season of struggle. Maybe they just like the challenge of life. And I just think of maybe a company starting off where maybe it's difficult in the beginning, where maybe you have long days, long nights. There's a lot of insecurity, whether it be financial or just yourself as a person, right? Like, do you feel secure in your own skin? And I just think of the people who keep on pushing and they make something big. Well, that big, it was just once a dream. We all have dreams to an extent. We have these visions that we want something in our life. And of course, momentum is going to be built or help build those dreams or help those dreams come a reality. And I wish I can say that, all right, everyone, this is what you have to do to build momentum. This is what you have to do to keep momentum. It's going to be, like I said earlier on, it's going to be individualized to a certain extent because some people are just ready for change. Some people are ready for a new them. Some people are so hungry that they'll do anything in order to get it. And then there's some people who see the good, they see the food and they go, oh, that would be nice, right? That would be cool. As long as they just remain passive, they're not going to continually motivate themselves in order to build the momentum. They're not going to create the goals and the structures to keep that going for a long period of time. They're not going to continually give themselves environments that are going to help nurture that momentum or nurture their life that is going to one day lead them to a moment where they're celebrating their wins. So all of this is to say that if you are a person who is struggling with your motivation, or if you're struggling with your goals, or just the aspect of discipline or creating momentum in your life for the things that you would like to do that are going to be the long-term goals that you have, I encourage you to check out this article, Momentum Maintenance, How to Keep Growing When the Excitement Fades. Like I said, it's easy in the beginning when everything is new, when everything is fresh, when you feel the butterflies, when you have the most optimism for something. It's in those moments when you feel like giving up, and those moments when it feels dark, when it feels cold, and it feels like letting go is going to be the easiest thing you can do. I want you to keep holding on. I want you to keep on pushing. Of course, if you need help, if you need support, reach out to us, revenconcepts.com. We help people not only build momentum, but keep it. We help people understand that momentum is just a mindset. It's a tool to help them get to their goals and their dreams. So if you have a goal, if you have a dream, if you have a vision of someone you would like to become, do not allow them to just sit by the waysides any longer. Do not bench them when they are prime candidates to be the star player on the team. You can live a life that is amazing. Sometimes it's just giving yourself this idea of, what do I need to do today? Take that first step. It could be a leap. Understand that you can hold on to the dream as long as you can, even during the fall. the parachute will open in time. So have faith, have trust in yourself, and build the momentum that will sustain you through to that landscape that you have in your most desired place in your mind.